The debate over President Trump's 28-point peace plan is intensifying, and several Western leaders are now openly calling for changes. Former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Bill Taylor says the United States can still help Ukraine secure a better outcome in this war, but only if Washington focuses its pressure on Moscow, not on Kyiv. In an interview with CNN, Taylor said that if the United States keeps supporting Ukraine with weapons and sanctions, then Ukraine can keep resisting Russian aggression. He stressed that the real pressure must be placed on Putin, who he believes is simply trying to wait out Western allies and avoid any serious diplomatic compromise. Taylor said that the President Trump actually has the power to force the Kremlin to stop the war, but that the pressure must be applied in the right direction. According to him, Ukraine still has the will to fight, and Europe's leaders remain committed. European officials are also reacting strongly to Trump's proposed plan. French President Emmanuel Macron said the United States proposal is a good basis, but it needs to be rewritten together with Europe. Many elements of the plan, he said, directly involve European interest, from frozen Russian assets held in Europe to Ukraine's future within European institutions. Other European leaders were even more direct. Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk said the plan needs serious work, insisting that Russia cannot dictate terms to Europe or Ukraine. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson called the plan essentially a forced capitulation for Ukraine, saying it would disarm the country and leave it vulnerable. At the same time, several US senators say Trump will likely pressure both sides, Kyiv and Moscow, but still ensure Ukraine remains a sovereign nation capable of defending itself. European governments are now sending their own counter-proposals to Washington, trying to change at least 4 key points of the Trump plan. Many leaders also warn that any durable peace must include strong security guarantees for Ukraine and must not reward Russia with territorial gains. For now, negotiations are moving quickly. Talks are expected in Geneva, and European leaders are trying to reassure President Zelensky that Europe will not abandon Ukraine, even if Washington takes a different path. Ukraine marked Holodomor Remembrance Day on Saturday, a moment when the country pauses to honor the millions of people killed during the Soviet-made famines of the 1930s and other mass starvation campaigns of the 20th century. But this year, the commemoration comes as a new debate shakes the country, a US peace plan seen by many in Ukraine and Europe as a dangerously close to Russia's terms. Many Ukrainians drew a painful historical parallel. After the ceremony, one speaker reminded the country that previous peace deals imposed by Russia brought not safety but even greater tragedies. They warned that peace on Moscow's terms has cost Ukraine dearly before and could cost even more now.
Thousands of Ukrainians died in the war for Ukraine's independence in 1917 to 1921. But after the fictitious peace that followed, millions of Ukrainians were killed by Russia. We must remember that the price of peace on Russia's terms may cost us even more than the price of war.
Russia's economy is cracking from the inside, and analysts now call it one of the weakest points in dictator Putin's entire system. That's the big takeaway from a new Jamestown report that digs into the numbers behind the Kremlin's war machine, and none of it looks good for Moscow. According to their analysis, Russia is quietly slipping into reverse industrialization. High-tech industries are shrinking, while low productivity, manual labor sectors are expanding. Almost the entire economy is being dragged into the war effort, and everything civilian is slowly dying off. Inflation is exploding, officially about 10% and likely even higher. GDP growth has collapsed compared to last year, and for the first time since 2022, Russia may actually be in the red despite all the loud talk about record results. The labor market is in crisis. Russia is running out of skilled workers because so many men have been mobilized, killed, or have fled abroad. The Kremlin is now trying to re-engineer the education system to push students into defense factories, which is causing anger among families and universities. On top of that, Russia's dependence on oil and gas has become a trap. Sanctions, broken infrastructure, and discount sales to China and India are bleeding the budget dry. Even the shadow fleet that Putin uses to dodge sanctions is expensive and risky and still not filling the financial hole. The report's authors say the Kremlin is holding the entire system together with propaganda, emergency spending, and fear, but warn that none of this is sustainable. Any real peace deal, they argue, would expose the scale of Russia's economic failures and trigger public backlash. That's why Moscow needs the war to continue. It hides the cracks. Dutch authorities say their military fired at identified drones spotted flying over an airbase in the southeast of the Netherlands. The incident happened on Friday evening when security teams at Volkel Air Base noticed several drones in restricted airspace. Air Force personnel used ground weapons in an attempt to bring the drones down, but none were hit. The aircraft quickly flew away and have not been recovered. Officials say it is still unclear who launched the drones or why they were operating in an area where flights are strictly prohibited. Military police have opened an investigation. In recent weeks, several European countries have reported similar drone sighting near sensitive military sites. Belgium detected drone above an airbase where American nuclear weapons are stored. Norway and Germany have also reported unexplained drone activity, raising concerns about possible surveillance of Western military infrastructure. Germany is preparing to protect the Baltic Sea with a new generation of underwater shark drones powered by artificial intelligence. German media report that the drone, called the Grey Shark, has already passed sea trials and looks like a small submarine packed with advanced technology. According to Bild, the Grey Shark is designed to patrol the sea, guard critical underwater infrastructure, spot enemy surveillance devices, and monitor the area for suspicious activity. It uses a hydrogen propulsion system, which means it can operate for weeks without refueling. One version of the drone, known as the Foxtrot model, can travel for up to 4 months and cover as far as 10,000 nautical miles. Germany says the drone relies on 17 high-tech sensors, while its onboard artificial intelligence processes data in real time and can identify potential threats under the water. Mass production could begin as soon as next year, and developers say international buyers are already lining up. Experts point out that this growing interest in sea drones began after Ukraine demonstrated how effective unmanned naval systems can be in the Black Sea, where they forced Russia to retreat from key areas and rethink its naval strategy. Even the United States has shown interest in building its own drone fleet, although recent American projects have struggled during testing. That's all for now. For more content, please subscribe.